Hello everyone, my name's Rachel Shackleton. Thank you for joining me on the YouTube channel. Today we're looking at the epidemic related to addiction to prescription drugs. So the recent headline on the BBC News was hundreds of thousands of people in England are getting hooked on prescription drugs. Health chiefs fear. So the drugs that they were particularly looking into in terms of research were drugs for treatment of anxiety, for stress-related illnesses, depression, and several other categories. And the result of this research, they found, is that people have been using these drugs for a minimum of 12 months and had become addicted. And many other people were using drugs for these drugs for well over 3 years. So the question really is, are there any substitutes or alternatives to prescription drugs? Certainly, when we're looking at prescription drugs, there is a major use of them, and I am definitely not taking a dig here at the pharmaceuticals. When we look at diseases such as epilepsy, prescription drugs are very, very necessary. However, looking into the spectrum of anxiety-related disorders, depression, and the depths or surface levels of depression, we can actually find many other alternatives to at least recommend to the clients before they go down the route of prescription drugs. Why are we not turning to alternative approaches? In order to answer this question, there are a number of things at play here, to my mind. The first one is lack of knowledge. So not necessarily everybody knows that you can find, for example, alternative treatment through kinesiology, through herbal medicine, through homeopathy, by taking certain exercises such as Tai Chi, Qigong, doing meditation, etc. We also have the factor that people today expect a quick fix. We want everything to happen quickly. Of course, health-related diseases do not have a quick fix. Why? Because they were coming for a long time. And that means that there is no such thing as a quick fix. And looking at alternative approaches, these are not quick fix solutions. We also should consider the fact that doctors, not all doctors, have knowledge of alternative routes, and that is not a criticism of our doctors. That is simply a fact that as part of their education there is very, very little on alternative approaches to things like depression, anxiety-related disorders, and so on. We also perhaps are looking at the fact that we're too quick to prescribe pharmaceutical drugs. And our system today, certainly in the NHS, does not allow for the doctors to really understand what's going on with each individual client. The 10 minutes prescribed doesn't allow you to really understand what is happening, and therefore the pharmaceuticals is the first place to go to see if it will help to resolve this solution with this client and bring them back to full health. We also have the issue around the patient wanting to be a participant in the healing process. And this, I think, is also related to the fact that we go to doctors to get fixed. Doctors don't fix anybody, just like a kinesiologist or a herbal medicine practitioner or a homeopathist doesn't fix anybody. The patient participates in their own development, their own journey towards re-establishing health and well-being. through the techniques used by the practitioner, whatever it is that they are, whatever modality it is that they're using. And we also have the fact that when we compare conventional medicine to holistic medicine, any other alternatives such as reflexology, kinesiology, herbal medicine, etc., we're looking at the whole. We're not looking at an individual part. And this means that if we're seeing a certain disbalance taking on the format of anxiety or high blood pressure or whatever it might be, we have to look at the whole, because an individual is a whole person and the body mechanisms all function together to bring about homeostasis. There is a lot that you can do for yourself to prevent you from going down the slippery slope to creating a disease state which then requires some kind of conventional interaction or interruption. One of the things that you can do is you can look at alternative treatments. Talk to people such as a herbal practitioner, such as a homeopath, a kinesiologist, a reflexologist, depending on what it is that you're facing. Herbal medicines are extremely powerful for working with many of these diseases. However, to do this on your own is not a good idea. Why? Because some herbs are overly powerful, and if you are taking other medications, you might find that that interferes. And therefore, to be safe, we should always do this with a practitioner, and I would say the same with homeopathy as well. Fresh air can do enormous amounts for us. Getting out into fresh air, whether you live in a city or in the countryside, we can always find a green space, and nature has enormously calming effects on us. Also, we're taking in the air, we're taking in the sunlight when the sun is shining, but even if the sun is not shining, we've still got a certain degree of reflection from the sun, which helps with bringing about vitamin D in the body, which of course is very, very important for bones, for teeth, and for general health overall, and has a major impact on anxiety and depression related diseases. We can also look at signing up for local classes, something like a Qigong or yoga, Pilates, something which is a bit more gentle, which focuses on breathing techniques and stretching and flexibility rather than pumping weights or doing high fitness training, which can actually, in some cases, exacerbate anxiety-related disorders, depression, and things like this. Diffusing good quality oils in your home is also very powerful. There are many oils that help with well-being, depending on what it is you want to achieve. So rosemary for focus, for the brain focus, for learning, things like lavender for relaxation, calming, peppermint for a little bit of stimulation. There are so many out there, and there's a lot of information on the internet on essential oils and use in the home. Of course, we also have to look at the other side of the story, limiting our access or exposure to environmental toxins, including those in the home. So think about cleaning your home with natural products rather than turning to the chemical-based products, which all have an effect on the body and the mind. And the final one there is looking at your food, looking at your diet. Many people now have dairy intolerances, wheat intolerances, gluten intolerances. And if you think you have one of these, go and get yourself tested, because you're doing yourself enormous favours by taking away that stress from the mind and body by simply taking these items out of your diet. So that's really all I want to say for today on this topic. If you want to look at a more detailed version of what I've been talking about, you can go to my blog on the Green Key Health website and have a little read. And if you feel like sending me some questions via Twitter, via Facebook, via the website, I'd be more than happy to hear from you. Thank you very much.